I'm Astrid, as you know. My husband had Huntington's disease for over 30 years, and I have one of my children has it now. So I've got really extensive experience of living with Huntington's disease, right through from genetic testing through to end of life. And so I've been able to use that experience to work as a public involvement member with Health and Care Research Wales since 2011. And having reviewed lots of HD trials for the team at Cardiff Uni, through that experience, I was then invited to attend a 2-day international conference in London on the, have to look this up, the practicalities and ethics of trial design. And as a result of that, I was then invited to be a co-applicant on the Trident trial for replacing cells into the brain in Huntington's disease. And I've been involved with that trial for the past 4 years.
My name's Lesley. I was diagnosed with Parkinson's back in 2004 when I was 43 years old, so quite young, and with 2 young children. It's progressed fairly slowly, but once I'd had it for about 10 years, I started to get involved in research, looking out for projects that I could do mainly on computer or having electrodes stuck to my head and testing done. And then in 2014, the same year, I found out about the GGNF clinical trial, which took place in Bristol. So I took part in this clinical trial, and for me, it worked beautifully. It made a whole difference to my life, made me feel alive again. But the overall result of the trial was a failure. And there's various reasons for that, but it just made me determined to do something about it, because I know the trial worked. It's just that it wasn't proven. And I think patient input at the time of the trial design would have made a huge difference, or listening to patient input throughout the trial as well, and it would have had a different outcome. And it's just sheer frustration that really got me involved in PPI.
Since 2011, I've been given numerous opportunities to be involved in research. I've reviewed many studies and trials to try to improve the lives of those living with Huntington's disease, many involving exercise or cognitive exercises, but also some major drug trials, and also been a co-applicant on several grant applications. I've been to many conferences and meetings and been asked to write various articles. I also gave a talk for the brain unit in the university and had an interview published in the Health and Care Research Wales bulletin and website, all about my story, to try to encourage others to come forward to help in research, because I don't have any medical or scientific knowledge. I wanted people to know that, because you don't have to have that sort of knowledge. The researchers just need our experience of actually living with the illness or condition, because that's something which researchers and medics and scientists, however brilliant they are, they just do not have the day-to-day living experience that we have as public patient involvement members. And they do seem to value that and appreciate it, which makes this work so rewarding, to feel valued like that. And we can all make a contribution in just by the experience of our living with a condition. So
if you go into the hospital for your annual checkup, you know, the doctor will see you on full medication, walking up and down the corridor with no problem, but they don't see you outside of those hours. And most people with Parkinson's have a private Parkinson's life and a public one. And certainly researchers do not see that side of it. When we were on the Sphere project in the house in Bristol, the researcher there said that it'd been an absolute eye-opener for her to watch people 24/7, and that, you know, having looked at people in clinic for so many years, she realized that she knew absolutely nothing about the condition she was treating until she saw people with it, through the night. So I think patient input is absolutely crucial, because we know what we need from these research trials. The input to the trial is crucial because we think of aspects that researchers don't, e.g., for example, early starts. For me, early starts are an absolute killer, because it takes a good 45 minutes to an hour before my medication hits me in the morning, and up till then I'm useless. So, if somebody says to me, can you be somewhere at 9? It takes me an hour to travel there. I've got to adjust all my tablet times throughout the whole day, and then have a rotten evening because I've run out of medication. Things like eating protein. Again, one of the things on one of the trials we had was that, they provided lunch, and it was looking at how tablets were working. So we had our tablets, and then promptly had a ham sandwiches for lunch, which contain protein, which stops the tablets working. In such basic things that they don't, that doesn't get noticed. What it needs is for people to be involved actually in the design and the running of it. And I know we won't understand it all, but there's no need to talk in highly faluting medical language. A lot of it could be done in layman's terms. And I think that's what we need. We need to be there from the outset and treated as an equal. I mean, everybody, even researchers, are patients as well. It's almost as if you get this label on you, you're a patient. So your opinion is less valid than that of the clinicians, and it's not. As far as I'm concerned, it's this very important opinion, because we understand the condition.
From my point of view, the best way to support somebody in PPI on a trial team is to make them feel as the Trident team has made me feel. They've made me feel part of the team. I thought I would just be a token member reviewing patient information sheets now and again, but I've been totally embedded in the team, made welcome at every meeting. All my views and comments have been considered. I haven't been made to feel intellectually inferior in any way at all, which is really quite important. And no question of mine was too stupid in their opinion. It probably was in mine, but not in theirs. And I think that if you're going to have PPI in a team, it really needs to be on that basis. Otherwise, the PPI member would feel uncomfortable. I've in particular wanted to assure myself about so many different things. I wanted to, in particular, to assure myself that it would be acceptable to patients, that nothing important was left out of the patient information sheets, that participants fully understood the consent process, that they're not being pressured to participate, that they understand the risks. I'm going to have to read this, I'm sorry. That they know the aims and are not being given false hopes, that they have sufficient support to be able to cope with brain surgery and complicated medication regimes, that it's not too practically onerous. For example, could appointments be combined? The discussions have been had about immunosuppression and COVID risks, which I was particularly concerned about, being vulnerable myself, that they've had the chance to ask as many questions as possible, that they understand the selection process, which is very complicated, and they understand randomization and the possible disappointments, that they understand an NHS operation could be cancelled at the last minute, they know to turn with any worries after surgery, etc., etc., etc. 2020, for the first time, I went away from HD studies and ventured into something different. I answered an urgent request from Health and Care Research Wales on behalf of the English HRA to review rapid response COVID-19 trials. And I found that really, really rewarding. it was just incredible. On the strength of my experience of reviewing Huntington's trials, I was instantly accepted by 2 other research teams that I applied to, and instantly being able to slot into their research teams for just a few days and be welcomed and totally accepted and trusted. And I found that just quite incredible, how much public patient involvement had become accepted and welcomed